All right, we should be live now. What's up, Greeno?
Not much, man. As soon as we go live, my dogs go nuts. Unbelievable.
That's all right. What's going on? Are they still barking?
Yeah, they're going ape shit. Sorry. All right, so we got special guests tonight. Cloudy Milder, Andy. All the way from England.
Scotland,
excuse me. My fault. How's it going, man?
It's going good, man. Thanks for inviting me along.
No problem. Figured it'd be fun. You're our first person overseas, I guess, to join us in here, get a different perspective on some stuff. How's everything going there as far as the COVID and all that?
Pretty much the same as most of the people, I guess. We're kind of on self-enforced. With the house, only essential journeys. You're supposedly allowed to leave the house only once to do any sort of exercise and what have you. So, I mean, I'm lucky in that my job hasn't really been affected too much. But I'm working from home, but I'm living in this room that I'm in, and this is my music room. And I'm finding I'm actually listening to less music now because when I finish work, I don't want to sit in here anymore. So I'll go and find something else to do.
Right.
Yeah, we're on total lockdown here now till the end of April, but I don't see it ending then.
No.
Yeah, I'm actually still working, but leaving the house to work.
Yeah, that's scary, man, because it's like now it's getting to the point where the people that were exposed to it last week because they weren't social distancing here are getting it.
Yeah. Well, I'm doing my best. I go to work and I stay in my little office thing and stay away from everybody. But I've been taking Fridays off, and like today, I've just been going nuts, spinning stuff and posting pictures.
You're in West Virginia, so what's the state? Is there a state order there yet?
Yeah, we've been stay at home. Yeah, just.
Were you considered an essential worker?
Yeah.
Oh, you are? Okay.
Yeah. I don't know why, but I am.
Yeah.
So you guys have different rules across every state, do you? It's not like a national.
Well, right. And that's what's kind of screwing us up. Like Florida just now did a stay-at-home thing, right? I mean, we've been on it since the 24th of March. And I think you might have went on it before us, George.
Yeah, I think we went on a few days before you guys.
So it's like,
no, he left it up to the governors of the states here. But like the Bible Belt, southern states aren't really following what they should be doing. They're not on any kind of. I think there's 18 states still not following any kind of like stay-at-home law. I don't think they're following any kind of law, to be honest with you. Like even the distancing stuff.
Pretty much sucks, but I figured eventually it'll just be a national thing. So hopefully.
Well, I think in order for, I don't know, it's all politics too. For him for Trump to just do it and shut down the whole all 50 states, it's some kind of political nonsense that he doesn't want to do it. So nothing we can do about it here.
Just stay home and listen to records. So I just kind of jump in. Shit, I didn't even see the.
Yeah, I'll keep an eye on that side. Cool. Yeah, he's been on lockdown since the 12th. He says.
Damn.
That's about. I mean, that sounds about right for me too. I think.
Yeah, I think you guys were a week or so before us. So.
Yeah, I've been about 2 weeks now.
Yeah. It's scary, man, especially with the little kids. I mean, I know little kids aren't getting it, but I just don't need it to spread.
Right.
So all 5 of us have been. Even my oldest son now, he hasn't been at work for 2 weeks now. So.
Wow. Yeah, let's just stay home.
Yeah.
Let it run its course.
Anyway, enough drag. Everybody gets on. That's all they're talking about. I know it's. it's a big deal. Don't get me wrong, but every now and then we need a break. So let's talk some music.
Yeah. Distraction. All right. So we usually pick one album we think everybody should have in their collection, or at least hear. So we'll let Andy go first. What do you got, dude?
Okay. Well, this was a kind of a tough question because there's hundreds you could recommend, but I've gone for a classic one, which
that's cool.
Because this is an album that I just love from start to finish. Obviously, nice early new wave of British heavy metal. As far as I'm concerned, Tigers of Bangtan, pretty much a one and done band. They went downhill after this, after Gez X left. But this is the album I have bought more copies of than any other album, and I currently only own 2. I've given the rest away, VCLT and whatnot over the years, just to try and get this thing out there and heard. But yeah, killer.
Right on, killer pick, man. Love that stuff. Keep hitting my mic. Right on.
Tiger King.
Love that album cover too, man. Now, hold on, you guys.
Yep.
A couple dogs.
I saw Tigers of Bangtan live a couple of months back now.
Did they just put a new record out?
They did, and it's awesome. As I say, I have a couple of albums after this, but when they did albums like The Cage, they completely lost me. When they went really melodic, when John joined the band as well, it just kind of it put me off them. Jess Cox left, but yeah, so it's only what's his name? It's only Rob Weir that's one of the main members that's still in there. But yeah, they were killer live, really good. I saw them on the in Edinburgh. It was the night the new album came out, so it was great to sort of pick it up on release night, get it signed, and yeah, they were awesome. They've won me back again now with the current lineup and the new album.
Isn't it funny how a lot of the older bands are putting new, like Saxon, not that they've really putting out any junk, but the last 20 years of Saxon music has been unbelievable, I think. It's just they're getting better as they go on. And Biff's solo record that came out a couple of weeks ago, even that's fantastic.
I've not heard that one yet, but yeah, all the Saxon stuff is awesome. In fact, I'm supposed to see Saxon 25th of March, but obviously that's got pushed back to August. So
yeah, I think when they got that new lineup, new lineup, it's been 20 years now, but when they got those 2 young when you got those real young guitar players in that band and kind of had that resurgence in the late 90s, early 2000s.
When Nibs Carter joined them on bass, he was like a shot in the arm, I think, for them.
Yeah, it just seems like they had a whole new energy, a whole new freshness to them, and they still, even the last studio album I thought was really good. But I mean, bands like that, like Tigers and Diamond Head, I thought a new pretty good new record out 6 months ago. But it's weird, like all these bands are getting back together and putting out better stuff than they've been released, than they released back in the day.
What was the last Diamond Head album? I have the one that's like I can't remember the name of it. It's like a purplish cover.
Yeah, they put one out like 6 months ago. It's like the Cross or something like that. I forget the name of it. It was good. It's not great. It's not like groundbreaking, but it's cool to hear. Although they don't have Sean Harris singing anymore. So
the new guy they've got, is it Rasmus Bon Anderson? He's great. I've seen them live about 4 times now. They seem to come to Edinburgh quite regularly, and he can belt out the old songs and they just sound brilliant.
Yeah, I thought he was a decent singer.
Right on. All right, what do you got, George?
I got a classic from the 70s. I don't know how classic it is going to be to some people, but it's the band Tough Darts.
Oh, that's cool. Right on.
Yeah. From it was on Sire Records in '77, I think.
That was kind of the only thing they released, right? And they were on, weren't they on like that Max's Kansas City, that compilation?
Yeah, they were on that, but the album was released on Sire Records.
Yeah,
but I always liked the track "Rats" was the first song I ever heard by them on this.
Yeah, that's a cool album.
Yeah, it's a great New York, I guess New York '70s punk kind of thing, punk new wave, I guess.
That took me a while to track down.
Yeah, it's not the easiest to find, but I'm starting to see them more and more out there. But a quick story with them. There was like 15 years ago, I was looking at stuff online, and I came across a Japanese disc, Tough Darts, and it was at the time it was a brand new album.
Mm-hmm.
So I looked into it, and here they had put out 2 other albums in Japan, like in the early 2000s. I guess one was like unreleased stuff, and one was like new stuff. So pick them up, yeah. So if you ever see them, they're only released in Japan though.
Any good?
I from what I remember, it's been so long. Yeah. I have to dig them out again.
That's cool.
But yeah, Tough Darts was always one of those. They were like those B-level kind of punk new wave New York bands, but I always loved that record.
I always have a soft spot for 70s New York punk.
Yeah, me too.
All that stuff.
You've got me at a loss. My knowledge of 70s music is shocking. Apart from the Ramones, obviously familiar with, and some of the big classic hard rock bands of that time. Yeah, it's just a decade I never really got into growing up. It was to me. I mean, I was born in 71.
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't get into music until probably the mid 80s. I was a bit late to the whole music thing, and to me that was just old. I didn't want to get into that. I just wanted the new stuff.
Right. So you never, with all the heavy 70s stuff with the VC, you've never dug back into some of those old bands like Sir Little Baltimore and all that stuff?
Really. No, I mean even bands like Rainbow and Black Sabbath from the 70s, I was really late to the party.
Wow. You might have some
ready to discover.
Yeah. So
Diamond Head Coffin Train. That's the latest one.
Yeah. So I haven't even seen that one. I haven't been paying attention. So the one before that, I do have. That one was pretty killer, man.
It was a self-titled one, wasn't it?
What's that?
It was a self-titled. The previous one.
Yeah. Did it have one of the tracks was like Wizard Sleeves or something like that? Or what the hell was the name of that one song? It was an awesome song. I think it was the first track on side 2.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah, I've got a signed copy. I know you hate signed copies, don't you, Greeno?
Yeah, I'm not an autograph guy.
Greeno, I don't mind. I like it.
Wizard Sleeve.
That's it.
Wizard Sleeve. Yep.
That freaking song is awesome, man. Yeah. That song made me pick up that album. All right, I picked a little bit of punk for this one too. I try and pick a little more obscure, just which is Gez X, You Goddamn Kids.
Nice.
Gez X and the Mommy Men. This is from 70s LA. And this is like the strangest goddamn album ever, man. It's so weird. And how I got into this album was a friend was looking for this back when we first got on eBay. And it was one of those albums like a legendary album he'd heard of in the punk scene. And he ended up buying a copy. And he got this one. This is an original press. It cost him $100.
Jesus.
And I'm like, and this is like 98, 99. And I'm like, dude, you're nuts. You know what I mean? But he got it and he was like, just put it on CD for me and you can have the vinyl. I'm like, okay, whatever. So I put it on CD for him and I've loved it ever since, man. But it got reissued. This is a 2002, a couple years after he paid $100 for it. It got reissued. But Gez X was this weird dude floating around in the scene in LA and the punk scene. And this is pretty much all he ever did, except he produced a lot of bands, worked with a lot of bands out of that scene. So, but this stuff is like it's just the craziest shit you ever hear. It's like, I don't even know what to compare it to. Like punk Zappa, something like that.
It's bizarre, isn't it?
Yeah.
Some of it's really out there.
Do you have it, or have you heard it, George?
I've heard it. I don't have it.
Oh man, it's just a crazy ass album. The first time I heard it, it was like, whatever, man. But the more I listened to it, it was like, man, this is awesome. It's a really good, it's just goofy, weird album that gets stuck in your head, man.
Is that him on the cover?
What's that?
Is that him on the cover?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Gez X. I actually came across the second copy about 10 years ago for like $5. I picked it up.
Nice.
But yeah, it's just one of those odd albums that came to me through a friend, and I freaking love that album. But it's floating around on vinyl, reissue, and CD. It's pretty easy to find now, I think. So
that's cool.
All right, so I guess we'll do the boot in the ass.
The boot in the ass segment.
Yeah. What you got, Andy?
Well, I have very few boots. It's not something I really collect that much. So since you guys are going punk, but most of them I have. I think I've got about 8, and 7 of them are Ramones. Mm-hmm. So I'll go with the newest one that I picked up recently. It's Live Montevideo.
That's
cool. And the thing I liked about this one is I'm not done with 70s Ramones boots and live albums, but all the shows that you tend to get, and they were the record store release and things they do, it's always the 70s shows. And I really wanted something with, CJ on, and a bit later, and some of the, because I think the 80s and 90s Ramones albums are really good. I mean, the 70s stuff, yes, they don't hold a light to them, but they've got some killer songs that they did in the 80s and the 90s. The sound quality of this is shocking, though. It's not very good at all.
That's awesome, man.
Nice.
I love CJ too, man. He was kind of like a kick in the ass for them, it seemed like, when he came on board.
Yeah, he's I did an album review of his a couple albums back, and he contacted me through the review and to thank me and everything. I thought that was cool of him.
Oh man, that's awesome.
Yeah, he seems a really humble guy.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, he was cool, but you're like me with the Ramones. I got a ton of Ramones boots too.
Actually, this was the first Ramones boot I ever got, and I picked this up from a record fair.
Nice.
There you go.
It's just on a TDK tape, so there's like no expense spared.
Right.
Yeah.
They even had a couple of gaps that I filled in back in the day because they didn't know what the songs were. That was my first time getting into the Ramones. I'm going to say late 80s for me for getting into the Ramones, but yeah, still got that one.
That's cool.
Yeah.
All right, George, what you got?
I got a new one I just got in. This Kiss is called Far, Far Away. It's from Japan.
Oh, wow.
95. But it's like right off the board. You can't hear the crowd at all.
Mm-hmm.
It almost sounds like a rehearsal, but it's amazing.
So is that no makeup or?
Yeah, it's 90. This is right before they went back, to the reunion.
Right. This
cool. Is when they were like, I think this is their best tour, non-makeup tour.
Uh-huh.
Because this went for the Revenge tour, I guess it was. But they were playing stuff like Watching You. What else did they play on? They started playing again. Parasite, they started playing again back then.
It seemed like they were getting a little heavier at that time.
Yeah, they were. They definitely were. But this is a standard black vinyl. I think there's only 100 copies. But 100 copies in the bootleg world means 1,000.
Right.
No
doubt.
But yeah, that's a cool show. I mean, it's been on CD before, but it sounds really good. It's almost perfect.
Well, I'm following right behind you again. So I picked this up like 4 or 5 years ago. Actually, the trip when I went up New England, hooked up with LJ, was hanging out with him. I found this out in Cape Cod at a little record shop that had a shit ton of boots, but were expensive.
Mm-hmm.
Which Kiss, Horny Bitches, and Daisy Days. This is from Amityville, Long Island, June 16th, 1973. So this is like early.
Wow. You're not gonna believe this.
You got this?
It'll be here Monday or Tuesday.
I told you, dude. It's like same brain.
It's weird. I just saw it. It's like, yeah, it was cheap, so I was like,
really?
I'll grab that. Yeah.
What did you end up paying for it? If you don't mind me asking.
34.
Yeah, that's about what I had.
Yeah.
Yeah. I try and stay in the 20s or less.
Yeah, if doubles, I'll go 35. That's it, but
I mean, it's a really good package. It's all nice, high gloss.
Nice.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. And that early, you know what I mean? 73. So, what the hell?
Yeah.
I got some more people joining.
Metal Mickey.
So there's a few guys on here that are that probably I'm more familiar with you guys on the VC today. So Metal Mickey and Mark G with a C there. There's a couple of UK guys.
Nice.
Right on.
Mentioned I'll be on tonight. So
well, welcome.
You guys.
Yeah. Thanks for stopping in.
Stick around, watch some more. All right. So now is when we usually get in talking to the guest. So we're actually getting more professional.
Yeah.
10 questions now. Are you ready?
I feel like yeah. You guys should have won a tie. Maybe
These are really in depth. You might need some paperwork from when you were a kid here. All right. First thing we usually start out with is when did you first get into music? Yeah, and like what band kind of got you into it to begin with?
All right. So as I alluded to earlier, I was kind of late. I mean, you hear a lot of people when they tell the stories about being 6 or 7 and they heard usually in America you heard Kiss and that was it. Everybody was suckered. But for me, it was I didn't really get serious about music until I heard when The Trooper came out by Iron Maiden. That was kind of my the song that made me kind of sit up and think, oh, I like this. And I couldn't understand why nobody else liked it. And that kind of got me on the route to metal. But before then, there was the whole sort of two-tone ska scene in the UK. Bands like Madness and the Selector Specials. That I was really aware of. Knew the songs because they were on the radio being played. But I didn't really buy much music until I was probably about 15 or 16. But that's when the metal kick happened. But I was the only one out of all my friends that was into metal, so it was kind of really difficult. No internet, not much in the UK on the radio. We didn't have any rock stations, so it was kind of quite a blinkered, kind of introverted view into the metal world. I thought I knew everything, but as you get older, and certainly just when I started doing these videos about 5 or so years ago, I just realized, kind of how much there was still out there to consume, and my collection has just ballooned since. But it was probably, Live After Death was the first metal album I owned, and my sister had to buy me that for Christmas. And I think she basically went in disguise to buy it because she was like more into the new romantic stuff. So to have to buy an Iron Maiden album in the shop, and she went through that for me. But yeah, it just kind of grew from there.
That's cool. So is that like, what's your main genre of collecting? I mean, I know you're definitely a metal guy. We know that.
It's metal, yeah. So what main genre within metal? I like kind of everything. I don't like to. I wouldn't say that I just get thrash. I mean, I like the thrash stuff. I like the metal stuff. I like the early new wave of British heavy metal. I like a lot of the new. They still call it the new wave of traditional heavy metal, aren't they? Even though that's 20 years old. It's been going longer than the new wave of British heavy metal. The only things I don't really go for are black metal and death metal. They never really.
That's about the same
at all.
Yeah, me neither.
Right. I used to think it was the vocals. I used to say I hate the growly vocals, but more recently, I've kind of got into some of the kind of blackened speed metal, which has got quite gruff vocals, and I've just realised it's the music that I don't really like, rather than the vocal style at all. I can live with the vocal style if the music is killer.
Yeah, I've checked out some of that stuff too, and I've found the same thing. It's like I can deal with some of those vocals, but a lot of the black and death stuff, the vocals are definitely, I think, way worse, I guess I'll say for myself. But yeah, I just can't do it, man. But like I've checked out, what is it? Baphomet's Blood and all those kind of bands, and Midnight and all that. Yeah, I can deal with some of that stuff. I just can't do the black and death metal, man.
The Cookie Monster vocals.
Yeah, I just can't do it.
Check out this band, Hell Ripper. It's a one-man band from Scotland, and that's kind of the blackened speed metal and sort of a little bit growly vocals, but it's I find it quite infectious. More because again the speed metal sound of it, and it's kind of an aggressive Motorhead style of music, but then with a bit more of a growly vocal on top.
That's cool. Right on. So now, I know you're into the Ramones and all that, but do you go outside of metal very much?
Oh yeah. Not so much these days, but there was a period of about 15 years when I hardly listened to metal at all. So from the early 90s up until about 2005, 2006, I was mostly listening to sort of alternative rock, UK indie rock, because that was really popular here at the time. And part of that was obviously the whole metal died thing in the 90s. Okay, we know it really didn't, but because I didn't have that group of friends who were suggesting new stuff, I just couldn't hear any new stuff that was going on. And I moved away, went to college, got a whole new bunch of friends, and just the whole alternative rock, indie rock scene that was happening at the time, I kind of got swept away with it. And it wasn't until I think I had made it just either the year before they released A Matter of Life and Death, and I saw that in the shop, and it was selling it cheap on CD, and I just thought, I can't believe Iron Maiden is still going. And I thought I'm going to buy it and just listen to it, and I thought that album was awesome. It's one of my favorite modern Iron Maiden albums by far. It's one I don't think they get much love, and I don't think they ever play any of the songs live from it, but that kind of got me going back and listening to some of the things that I used to listen to, and then it all kind of kicked off again.
That's cool.
Nice.
Do you remember the very first album you bought, or were you saying it was Live After Death? Was that your first album?
That was the first one I had. I mean, it was bought for me as a present, but with my own money, I don't remember anymore. I've still got them all. I had about 50 or 60 albums from when I was a teenager, and I've never sold them. They've always been kept. And yeah, they only really came out of retirement sort of like 5-6 years ago, and then, as I say, the whole thing exploded again, and now I'm a few more than 60 now.
George, do you have like a little cache of these are my records from when I was a kid? Because I do. I have a little thing of Kiss records.
They're just in the collection.
Yeah,
yeah. But I have a lot. Probably most of the records I had when I was a kid.
Yeah, I'm kind of
rock stuff.
I'm kind of the same way. I mean, there's stuff just mixed out, but I have a little. Remember the little brown top? You know what I mean? And there's nothing in there but Kiss albums.
Oh, really?
I had as a kid, and they're beat to shit, and I'd probably never put them on my turntable again. But it's like that's my little childhood thing. It's like that was the actual ones I played. Yeah.
Yeah, I still have mine. I have upgraded ones, but I still have those too.
Yeah, definitely upgraded because I don't think these will play anymore. So, Andy, what's the record you have like in your collection that's you're most proud of, like your holy grail? That's a hard question, I know.
I recently was given a copy of Kill 'Em All, Metallica, Music for Nations, and it's just really hard to come by. I mean, I've collected Music for Nations label for a number of years now, and I thought I had a copy, but when I actually discovered Discogs and the rabbit hole that is with trying to figure out which pressing you've got, and even down to when you're reading the text on the dead wax to make sure that you've got the right pressing, I found out that I actually had a Russian boot, and it kind of it killed me. I was like absolutely gutted because I couldn't. I keep all my Music for Nations actually in a separate section at the moment, which is it doesn't work. I've got to move it because I can't find anything now because I have to remember which catalog number they are. It was a really bad mistake. I thought it'd be a great idea to have them all together, but I can't find anything. But yeah, I wouldn't keep it with them because it was even though it looked pretty good. It just wasn't a genuine article. So I was really stoked to get a copy of that recently. But and also Iron Maiden debut, an original 70s 80s UK pressing. I got that recently. That was something that I was kind of looking out for a while, but there probably are others that I want and I could get hold of, but I can't justify spending a lot of money on, so I kind of have to wait and hope that I can get something. Right. But if it's an 80s metal record, I won't buy a reissue. I'll buy the CD and I'll just hope that I'll get the record one day. I just can't bring it. I can't do it. I can't buy a reissue without having the original. Reissues of other albums I've got no problems with. I've got loads of reissues from sort of modern albums which I missed the boat on from like say 5 years ago, but they've reissued them. More than happy to pick those up. Don't need originals of those. But when it comes to my 80s metal, I kind of want to have that OG.
Yeah, crap, man. So you don't buy any High Roller or any of that kind of stuff?
I've got a few of those, but they tend to be the maybe the demos or the unreleased stuff. I picked up the what's in the box, the 40th anniversary of Mithra. Yeah, from early 80s. Because they didn't release anything on vinyl. I think it was it first came to light. There's lots of demo recordings. They put together in 2012, and that got a High Roller reissue. I think it was a High Roller reissue. I bought it from High Roller anyway, and that sounds fantastic. And I'm happy to have that one because there's not an original album that it came along with.
Right. I think they only did a single, if I remember right.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Wow, that's an interesting way that's a hard way to collect, dude. Mm-hmm. I mean, I'm all over those, like High Roller, and I would much rather spend $20 or $30 on a nice reissue, not just something.
And let me ask you this: over here in America, the UK pressings are worth, I don't know, most of them are worth $3 or $4 or $5 more than the US pressings are of a certain album. Is it reversed over there? Like, do you pay more for US pressing than you would?
No.
I
guess it depends on the album. I mean, the new wave British heavy metal stuff. It's the UK
like
than an American one would be still, because it's it's people want that UK band, UK pressing.
Right.
But, I don't actually see that many US pressings in the wild. To be honest with you, there's not. The market isn't really flooded by them. The second-hand market certainly. And it's always a bit of a surprise when I do come across one.
Yeah, it's like the opposite. I've always looked like if any album, if I see it's a UK pressing, I'll pick it up. Like the first Van Halen album or something. I'm like, oh, because I know it's going to sound better.
Well, and you don't see them as much.
Well, 75% of the time they sound better. I don't know if they're mastered better overseas. Like in Japan and Germany was okay, but UK and Japan always had better mastering jobs and better sound quality vinyl than we did, especially in the 80s. And I don't know what they were using as far as the vinyl goes in the 80s in the US, but some were just complete crap.
I know a lot of people complain, certainly guys I know in the US through watching VC videos, they always kind of complain about the packaging with UK stuff being really flimsy card or paper sleeves, and the few US pressings of stuff I've got, it's like really heavy card stock.
I prefer the UK sleeves, like especially the old Beatles ones, the way they were the back of them was folded and glued. Just something about those were, I don't know, they were cool.
Hey, do you have some guys that collect? They want wherever the country the band's from. That's the pressing they want.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like what's a Megaforce Kill 'Em All go for there? Andy, are they more than the Music for Nation?
It might well be more. To be honest, I've not looked because I had to have a Music for Nations pressing, even though I think the Megaforce one would be more, because that was, Music for Nations is just it's a licensed label, I guess. It's like Combat and Banzai. That's another label I quite like, Banzai stuff, but never see them here. I think I've got 2 Banzai records in my collection, and probably a handful of Megaforce at most. Never see them at all.
Wow. Did you guys ever watch Lee up in I can't remember his channel?
Noise Section.
Yeah.
Yeah,
he's right in Canada. He's got like the bonsai freaking collection, man.
I don't think I know him.
He's got crazy stuff. He just kind of pops up every once in a while, does a video showing crazy stuff, then you don't see him for 6 months.
He shows a lot of Yugoslav metal as well, doesn't he?
Yeah.
Wow.
Really obscure stuff.
Huh. Yeah. All right, so I guess we'll move on. How big is your collection overall, you think?
I'm probably around the 1,000 mark with albums on vinyl, CDs, probably about another 500-600 of those as well, and that's my metal collection. And then the indie rock, which is it's all boxed up. I keep meaning to get it, actually, maybe even doing some videos on it. I don't know what I'll watch because everyone who watches me is into metal, but I will hate it. But I might just document it that way one day. But there's about another 500 there, 400 or 500 there. So I try not to count, to be honest with you. It just, I'm running out of space. I mean, this room I'm in, which is kind of, I call it my music room, but it's a music room, home office, and I've literally got about half the room that I can put my stuff in, and the rest of the stuff, my wife's got stuff in here as well. And I am getting to the point where I'm thinking I'm going to have to curate my collection a bit, because I've got a load of stuff that I'll probably never play, and some blind buys that are, I probably need to move on. But I've never ever sold anything that I've bought. I've literally got everything that I've ever picked up. So I kind of need to get past that and stick with the good quality stuff, because I'm going to carry on. I'm not going to get to the point where I go, I've got too much, I'm not going to buy anything else. But I just need room to put that new stuff, and some things are going to have to go, I'm sure.
Yeah, I think we all get to that point eventually where, like, I've been doing it for the last 3 or 4 years, just trying to, weed some stuff out. I probably weeded maybe 2,000 records so far. I still got a ways to go. It's hard to do that, man.
That's only about 1% of your collection, isn't it?
It's not that bad.
It's pretty big. That's what she says.
Yeah, so, I've got 13 cubes.
Right on.
I've still got a little bit of room, but it's more than I can listen to in the rest of my life probably. So, but I'm still going to add to it, no doubt.
Yeah,
right on. How long have you been into VC now? Like 6 years, 7 years?
The October 2015 was my first.
Okay, so you've been about 5.
Yeah, about 5.
So how much do you think your collection has grown since joining the VC?
Exponentially.
Yeah, mine too.
I just, as I say, because I still love doing all the VC stuff and the people I've met, because I'm still in a position where I have none of my real life friends have are into the same music as me, and now there's kind of the internet where I can find stuff and YouTube where I can find stuff. But it's just great getting recommendations and meeting people and chatting, and the whole VC thing is gone. It's now bigger for me than just the YouTube thing. There's people I chat to regularly on Facebook, or met up with a couple of people as well. I mean, Metal Mickey that's on here now. We've done a couple of meetups, and the Rock Scout, and there's more people, I think, doing videos from the UK now than when I started. I struggle to think of anybody that was around. Yeah, I mean, I've got bookshelves here that need to go. Yeah, so we've done some meetups, and we chat offline, and we're constantly kind of sharing stuff as well. And it's just bigger than what it started out with YouTube, and that's why this stupid name I've got here was just something random I came up with, because I didn't want people to know I was doing this. I didn't want my family and friends to know. I just wanted to see what would happen, what would grow organically if I just started doing videos. So
yeah, I kind of kept it to myself when I first started doing it, probably for the first year, and I still don't tell a lot of people I used to do them, but I was probably doing them for close to a year before I told even my family here in the house. You know what I mean? It's like, they're like, "What are you doing?" But yeah, the VC's like, and that's interesting, because it's like, it's worked the same way for me when I first got into it, and George probably the same. You start talking, and next thing you know, you're meeting up with people, and packages are rolling all over the world.
Mm.
And
it took me so long to get comfortable being in front of the camera. Even playing in bands all those years, I haven't done it forever. So like the first time I bought that little ass video camera to start shooting YouTube videos, I was like, I didn't even know how to talk anymore. It seemed
right. I think my first video, I just had a stack of records with the camera in front of them, and I was flipping, showing the record.
Showing them, yeah. I remember you telling me that.
Yeah. But the VC is a great place, but it got a little. It's like, okay, I got to pull back. It was
there was a lot of drama going on. Like people fighting with other people, and I didn't know who they were, but
I just stay out of all that shit.
I think it's different. I know you don't do them anymore, Reno, but I think it's moved on. I mean, I still really enjoy it. I've met a lot of great people in there. In fact, I was watching the show you did with Scott last week, and I think at one time he said, there's hardly anyone making videos. I just think sometimes when you're in something for so long and you're used to the same people, it's harder to go out and find new people. But there are still new people coming in all the time.
That's cool.
A little bit of time in it, and I met some great people, and there's Facebook groups as well that I'm in with different groups, and everyone's chatting and everyone's it's just really good. It is like it feels a bit cheesy, isn't it? It's a good community. It's
yeah. I mean, Bit Bob Boom. What's up, John? Yeah, it's like I said, I just kind of pulled back. It was like, okay, I got to chill. I was, like you said, your collection exploded, and mine was definitely exploding. It was like, okay, I got to chill, pull back, and listen to what I've been pulling in.
I remember every update would be a whole stack of new sort of new wave of traditional metal albums, and pen and paper, I'd be quite a few because of you.
Oh, dude, it was constant, and it's not like I was the only one. George was doing this shit, and Scott and LJ, and it was like, okay, I got the 10 he showed, but I need that one other one, and I got the 5 he showed. I need the 2 other ones he showed. And it's like, after a while, I was like, okay, calm down. I need to step back and start spending more time.
He would text me from record stores down by him. He's like, yo, you got this one?
Yeah.
Like some rare bootleg. And I'm like, no, buy it for me.
It's just
but
crazy.
I think I said, I'm like, dude, don't text me anymore, because I'm just gonna have you buy records for me.
Yeah. All right. Well, I think you already answered this. Said, did you ever take a break? And you said, yeah, you kind of did there in the 90s, where basically you took a break from metal, but you were still listening to music, right?
Yeah, I was still buying quite a lot. I mean, when I was because I moved to. So I grew up in Wales, in Cardiff, and I went to college in Liverpool. And obviously, there's the everything's sort of Beatle mad in Liverpool. Although Beatles are a band that I never really got into. Appreciate what they did and everything, but not my thing at all. But there was just a whole different scene exploding in the UK in the early 90s. That kind of stuck with me for quite a long time.
Were you ever a fan of the Wild Hearts in the early 90s?
I don't really know much of their stuff, to be honest.
No, they had 2 albums out on Atlantic, in like 92, 93. They were like the heavier end of the UK. I don't know. I guess the UK indie scene then.
Okay. I mean, it wasn't really. I wasn't really listening to heavier stuff, but everything I was into, it was all guitar oriented. It wasn't keyboardy. It was kind of considered pop. I mean, there's the whole Britpop scene, and I loved a lot.
That's what it was. Yeah, Britpop.
But it was still guitar oriented rock. I mean, one of my favorite bands around the same time as I got into the Ramones in the sort of late 80s was a band called The Wedding Present from Leeds in the UK, and they're I describe them as kind of thrash pop, because the guy David Gez, he had a different lineup every album. He's one of these bands that changes a lot, but he almost kind of, his guitar was almost like thrash. It was very fast, kind of hard, deliberate guitar playing, and that was a band that's a band I have everything from. And Manic Street Preachers as well, which are another Welsh band. I don't think they didn't particularly try to break the American market, so I don't know how well they're known over there, but that's another band that's kind of stuck with me for forever. I mean, they're still going sort of 35 years later.
Anybody ever find out what happened to Richie James?
Nope.
Big
mystery. And I did see them with that lineup actually when I was in Liverpool, so it was great to see them when they were a 4-piece for Energy. But they always used to say that in the shows there was always rumors that his guitar wasn't actually plugged in. He was kind of the
Sid Vicious of the band.
Yeah, he wrote a lot of the lyrics. He was kind of, I think, their spiritual leader, but he was really messed up in the head. There's he did an interview at one time, I think it might be for NME, and the interviewer asked him, "Are you for real?" And he got out a razor and he carved "for real" in his forearm.
Jesus, wow.
So I think he had some issues.
I remember when that went down, because I was managing a record store here then, and we would get NME and Melody Maker every week, and I would read them. They weren't they weren't really the bands I was listening to, but I would always read the chart reviews and stuff like that. But Wild Hearts were more like, I don't know, Motorhead meets Cheap Trick.
That's a pretty good
right
description.
I'll have to check them out.
Yeah, they're one of my favorite bands.
They have good luck. They have a deep catalog.
Where's the best place to start? I've got to.
The Atlantic. I mean, it started at the beginning, really. The Atlantic stuff.
My favorite is Earth versus the Wild Hearts.
That's the first full length, on Atlantic.
Or no, I'm sorry. You're right. That's the first one. The one I'm thinking of is The Wild Hearts Must Be Destroyed.
Oh, that was like their third or fourth comeback album.
Yeah. That album's great because it's got a little bit of their wackiness and just good hooky songs.
Yeah, it's definitely a lighter album. Kind of like Earth Versus was.
Either one of those is pretty good jumping on points. So
even their new album, their last album earlier this year, I thought was amazing.
I gotta grab that.
I'm always curious, like how guys overseas in the UK feel about what's going on as far as like in America now, as far as now, well, I guess there's no music scene anymore, but I always felt like the UK had a more respect and more what am I trying to say? More respect and would go to shows a lot more than guys would here. You know what I mean? Like guys don't don't respect the live shows anymore.
Well, we've got. I don't know if it's because it's so much smaller here. It's a lot of bands still tour, especially the smaller bands. I mean, the bigger bands will play. They'll play Wembley in London, and they'll call that a UK tour. And they'll do one gig, and they'll bugger off around Europe, because Europe is still a lot bigger. A lot of the bands that I like, when they do in the summer, they'll all go and tour around Germany and what have you, because it's the Germans are just crazy for it. So, but I'm lucky up in Edinburgh. Still, Edinburgh's a small city, really small city, but we've got 2 or 3 small club venues, and a lot of the newer metal bands that are kind of starting out, they'll come to Edinburgh and they'll do a tour. No, hardly anyone will turn up. I mean, I've been to some of these places, like Night Demon. You familiar with them?
Yep.
I saw them on their first ever UK gig was in Edinburgh, and it was on a Monday night in this great venue called Bannerman's, and there was me and about 20 people. And I was in the bar talking to Jarvis Leatherby after. I was kind of apologising for no one turning up, and I thought, well, next time you come, you're going to go and play Glasgow, and they did. They came. They supported Sacred Reich, actually, blew Sacred Reich up the stage.
Wow.
We talk about some bands that are still doing great stuff. I kind of think with Sacred Reich that they're cashing in on the metal scene. I know lots of people love that album, so I'm probably going to get hate, but I didn't click with that new Sacred Reich album.
I haven't heard it yet.
I haven't either.
I just found it a little bit monotonous, but it kind of felt to me that everyone else is doing it. They need to get something out, get touring and cash in. But Night Demon were fantastic. And,
I've noticed that a lot of the bands, like, what are they called? Who'd you just say? Not Night Demon, the other band.
Sacred Reich.
Sacred Reich. Ugh, my memory's shot. A lot of bands like that are starting to come back now, and it's like, why? Yeah. Like Sacred Reich was always one of those bands to me that they were gone in the 90s. You know what I mean? Like, as far as I was concerned, when I saw they were putting a new record out, I was just like, I don't remember them being that big back then. That, I mean, it's cool if they want to do it, but
yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
I like the early stuff. It's just, whereas you've got the other bigger band like Testament haven't kind of stopped, so it's not like they're continuing. They've changed their style a little bit over the years, but it's not like they went away for 20 years and then decided to come back and reform.
Yeah, I've never really jumped on these smaller bands coming back, because there's like a ton of those, not even B level but C level bands that have come back and recorded a couple albums here and there, and it's like, for the most part, it's just like, I don't understand why you're doing it. I'm not interested. But whatever. I mean, if they do it and they're having fun and people are enjoying it, that's fine. But it's just something I don't follow myself.
Yeah,
and to be honest, I'm not even following the big bands anymore. Like, I haven't bought the last couple Testament albums, the last Death Angel. I'm just kind of, we've talked about this before, George. Just like, I'm just kind of done with the.
Oh, I think Death Angel will get better. Age, I really do. But Testament, I wasn't that taken by the last Testament album, but everybody's raving about the new one.
I ordered it. Well, I'm not in the shop now, so I have to order it on Amazon like everybody else. So I just ordered that, and I pre-ordered the. I'm not even gonna try to think. I pre-ordered something else. That comes next week. Oh, Metal Church.
Oh, that's cool.
They have like a compilation of unreleased stuff coming out next week.
I'm kind of with John there, where he says I can't follow the bands that had so many lineup changes. And
well, that's the tough thing, man. Like, you see bands like Rat. I know we're glam. We're going not metal but glam, but like Rat. You got Stephen Piercy there now, and I know the bass player's back, the old bass player. So it's like, but everybody else is different. but they still call it Rat. And then you have the drummer that's suing them because he wants to go out as Rat.
All these bands, LA Guns, Great White, they're all doing that stupid crap.
LA Guns cracks me up, man. Like, you think after all this time that Tracy hasn't been in the band, Tracy and Phil get back together, and it's a good thing. They get a good record out. And then Riley, out of nowhere, is like, oh, I want to bring back LA Guns again, my version. And they get signed, and they're going to put a record out.
Whatever.
And it's like him and Kelly Nichols, who hasn't been doing anything forever, the bass player, and like two other guys. So it's like
all the money's in the name, so that's why they want to fight over it.
But I don't understand how Steve Riley could think it's okay to go out as LA Guns. I just don't. I don't get it. And who else did that not too long ago? Was it Queensryche that went out as?
It was Jeff Tate's Queensryche.
That's right. Yeah.
I think he was only allowed to do it for so long, right? If I remember.
Well, at first he was just doing it, and then they sued him, and then he could only finish out the tour. But then he ended up, didn't he change the name of the band to like Operation Mindcrime or something?
Yeah, something like that.
He's going up touring at the moment, doing sort of classic Queensryche. He did a 30th anniversary Operation Mindcrime tour. I saw him that. And it was pretty good, but it was a really small club, and he sounded great. And but it was, him doing it with his own band,
right?
And his daughter was in the band, and she did the Sister Mary pieces, and her own band was opening, and the guitarist was in both bands. It was very incestuous affair.
I'm sure. And his wife is the manager, right?
But it wouldn't surprise me. And they had this, they were doing a meet and greet, and they were trying to sell it on Facebook at £40. What's that? 75 or so, a meet and greet, and that's what they're offering on the day. And you turn up on the night, and there was no merch at all.
Wow.
There was an empty merch table, and there was a handwritten scroll on it that said "Meet and greet Jeff Tate after the show, £50."
Whatever, man.
And I thought he would be better off buying as many copies of Operation Mindcrime CD on Amazon, and then putting the price up by £2 on the night and signing them. He probably would have made a lot more money doing that.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's something I don't get, the whole, pay to meet the band. I ain't fucking paying to meet any band.
I ain't doing that, yeah. I love meeting them after show and getting things signed, but I'm not giving them extra money. I've paid to see you, for Christ's sake. I'm not going to pay again just to get you to scribble on the record.
Yeah, right.
I've met a few, but to be honest, I've never went out of my way to meet anybody. It's just like, I like your music. It's cool. I don't want your autograph, and I don't really want to meet you because if you're an asshole, it's going to ruin everything for me.
The guy from Halloween for me.
Really?
Oh my God.
Which one?
One of the guitar players. It was
not Kai Hansen.
No,
because I love everything he's done. So you would
me too.
A bad person. I would have been.
No, it wasn't Kai, because I think Kai would be a cool person to talk to. It was Michael, maybe Michael.
He's the dark-haired dude, right?
The other guitar player. I did an interview with him. Like, I'm going back 20 years though. I did an interview with him right after, I think, the second or third album with Andy Dares came out. And I just asked him, like, at the time, everybody was going back to their bands. And so I asked him about, what's his name? Michael Kiske. If he was coming back or if he had talked to him. And he was like, why would I fucking talk to that fucking asshole? And he just, like, he went off on me. And I was like, all right, well, that's the end of this interview.
They're cashing on that right now, though, aren't they?
Yeah, they sure are.
Wow.
He was such an asshole to me, man. Like, I was like, sorry, I was just asking because everybody's bringing back ex-members, But, oh
well. What was your first concert, Andy? Did you say it was? I think you just talked about this the other day in one of the groups.
It is, yeah. It was Monsters of Rock Festival, 1986. I anticipated that question. So yeah, it's my program from the day.
Right on.
So this is
that's awesome.
Yeah. So my biggest regret is, I mentioned earlier on how with the 70s guys, I wasn't really, I considered that to be, I was past it, that was old. I wanted the new stuff. So on my first ever day of seeing live music, I saw Dio play, and I just kind of didn't appreciate it at all.
Really?
Oh yeah, I just kind of hang around at the back for that one, looking for something to eat, and I just thought, I love Dio now. Absolutely love Dio now, but to me, he was like that dude that was in Black Sabbath, that 70s band.
Wow,
that's wild, man.
But, yeah, Cinderella was the first band I ever saw live.
Right on. That's and who headlined that? Bon Jovi? Is that what that said?
Yeah, that was. Wow. That was. I mean, they were on a crest of a wave then, but
God.
Metallica, Anthrax, and Wasp were the other three. So Metallica, Anthrax, Wasp were the three that I really wanted to see that day. But it was a crazy day because I was only 16 and it was a long way from home, and I did a whole video on it. 2017, the 30th anniversary, I did a video on it. So if anyone wants to go back and check that, I just sort of talked about my memories. But I managed to track down recordings of everything from that day.
Wow.
And they come from the really, really bad. Somebody has made a video on the day, and judging, given how big the video cameras were in '87, this thing must have been huge. That's on YouTube. So I did some audio scrapes from those, right down to the Anthrax and the Dio. They've all been released by the bands as sort of bonus discs.
Oh, okay, cool.
Right, proper good quality soundboard recordings. But it's just fantastic being able to have, those shows from the day. But yeah, it was a long way to go for a 16-year-old kid. And I was a pretty naive 16-year-old kid as well. I had no idea what I was going to get myself in for going to a festival. Health and safety didn't exist in those days. A big muddy field.
That's a big show for your first show, man. That's crazy.
Our Monsters of Rock festival that year was it that year? No, 89. Ours wasn't a muddy field. We had in the middle of the summer, they laid down hot rubber tarps on the infield.
Ooh.
Yeah, and the dude in front of me decided that he was going to show everybody what he had for lunch earlier that day.
Everybody's slipping and sliding.
Oh, and it cooked on his. Oh, thank you. Cooked on his on that rubber sun.
Right.
Oh, dude. I think that was the tour we saw. That was the Monsters of Rock here in the States. The only time they did it was Kingdom Come, which at the time I was kind of into because of the Zeppelin thing, and then Metallica, and then Dokken, Scorpions, and Van Halen.
Yeah. So
we hung around for Metallica in that stink, and then as soon as Dokken came on, we were like, I got to get out of here, man.
Yeah, I went to that.
So I would have rather have dealt with the mud than
the puke.
Yeah, because that looks like fun at least.
Dude, the worst I ever saw was the second Lollapalooza. The second Lollapalooza, I saw it at it was an old racetrack, right? So Rage Against the Machine's playing.
Ooh.
And it's hot as fuck. They're spraying hoses of water.
They were spraying us that day too.
Yeah. And there's mud flying everywhere. But it was an old racetrack. It wasn't mud flying everywhere. It was just horse shit everywhere. Oh. Dude, it was awful. We were standing at the back. It kind of went up a little bit of a slope. And we're just like, these guys are morons, man. And they were coming out just covered in this shit.
Like, why does this mud stink?
Yeah. And it was like August or whatever, just hot as hell.
Well, that's one thing we don't do here. We don't do hot as fuck. So it's normally cold. It rained as well. It always rains.
Yeah.
Man, I would, after the last 3 years we've had in this country, I would live there in a heartbeat.
Yeah, the heat and everything. And
yeah, that and just politically, man, to get away from here.
All right. Move on. Do you play any instruments or anything, man?
No, I am tone deaf.
Really? Never tried to?
Yeah. Schools when you had to try and learn instruments, but it's just no, it's something obviously I wish I could, but I've just never had any aptitude for musical instruments at all. And no, I can't sing either.
I was getting ready to ask you, close the door and sing every once in a while.
Oh yeah, I do that.
Yeah, but
yeah, it's you would scare you to death.
Do you collect anything else besides music related stuff?
Nope, not these days. It's pretty much all my eggs in one basket now.
Vance,
I'd buy one of them.
Absolutely. I want one of you with your
no,
your head.
I want
to see that one.
Yes. I showed my wife that one too.
I did too.
She said that. Or no, I forget what she said. Something about who would put old underwear on their head or something like that. I forget.
Sorry, Andy, I got distracted there. So you said you don't do anything else now? Just
no, I used to collect movies and DVDs, but after my used to go to cinema a lot, but after my kids were born, it's kind of the genre of movies changed dramatically. Yeah. They're mostly animated stuff now. A lot of the kids' animated stuff is actually pretty good, but I'm kind of well out of that scene now as to what movies are what. So it's just pretty much head down in music. But vinyl and CDs, and I'll pick up the odd cassettes now and again. I'm not a format snob by any means.
Do you collect anything musically like old posters or?
No, I literally I don't have the room. I mean, I don't. I'm in a position really with the space I've got available is I can't really collect something that's just going to be in a box and I can't show. I've got I guess a sizable music book collection of things I've just bought and read. I find some of those quite interesting, sort of the biographies, and I'm a sucker for metal reference books.
Yeah, same here, man. I love those kind of things.
And this one I'm completely consumed by Contract with Blood.
I've seen that. I've thought about picking it up. I haven't grabbed it yet. Is it any good?
Oh yeah, I mean I'm on a massive UK thrash kick. I used to think UK thrash was a bit of a joke. They're like Lawnmower Death and Metal Duck, and but I've just been buying a lot. There's a lot of bands are getting reissued on CD, and just they're putting together demos and things onto a single CD. So I'm picking up a lot of stuff from the strength of reading this book. And the best thing I did is I'm a little bit anal. I keep books and things really sort of pristine condition. But I spilt coffee on this one, and it's the best thing I ever did because now I've got notes written all over it, and it's trash. So I take it away, chuck it in a bag, and just dip in all the time. But yeah, I'm picking up anything sort of UK thrash related at the moment, and yeah, it's just good listening to reading some of those backstories and realizing there was actually a good scene here. It just wasn't promoted at all. And they were a little late to the party, I guess. The American scene was pretty much almost done when the UK scene kind of tried to kick off.
Right. Have you ever picked up any the Pop-Off books? Martin Pop-Off?
No, I've got the Ramones 40th anniversary big book that they did. That's really good. Yeah. But they're kind of difficult to come by over here.
Like he has a lot of the cool reference books. Like here's one for the 80s. If you ever get a chance, come across this. And it's the same
yeah, actually, I've got that one.
Yeah, I have that one.
There you go.
But yeah, these ones are good as well. I'll say a bit of a geek for reference books. These Rock Detector.
I have those too. Those are awesome.
Yeah,
that used to be an awesome website, and they just kind of those books come out, and then that website just kind of died. I can't remember the name. Damn, I can't remember the name of the site, but basically all the information from that site went into those books, and then but It was a cool site. It's a shame it kind of went away, but that's cool. But yeah, Popoff's done like a ton of those kind of, if you dig those reference books, like he's done 70s, 90s, 2000s.
Well, I've seen a lot of them. I just, they just don't show up here. They're not.
Yeah. I don't know what it would be to order from him in Canada for you, but you can order direct from him on his site. That's where I get them from, and he signs them for you and all that. I get my autographs in my books. That's what I like.
I'm surprised you even like that. Tell him don't sign the cover.
No, he doesn't. He signs the inside.
Rock Candy do. They started a magazine a couple of years ago.
Yeah.
Well, I've started collecting. I collected those from the first issue, and Iron Fist as well, which was a shame. They don't seem to be making them anymore. But I do still like a good metal mag. I mean, I was metal was my magazine of choice in the 80s. I could never really get into Kerrang back then. But
I think the newest rock mag is that Planet Rock too.
Yeah. What is that one? Is that the newest one?
A couple weeks, yeah.
Yeah, this came to yesterday.
Rock Candy, yeah.
I need both those. Of course,
I gave up on Rock Candy for a while.
This has turned me on to a lot of, I said I missed the 70s. There's a lot of bands in here, classic 70s bands that do. I read the interviews and I think, well, I got to go and check that out now. So
yeah,
I get my education.
Yeah, that's a cool magazine like for me, it's like kind of very, very nostalgic, which is,
Yeah, they run a lot of old school articles in there too, don't they?
Yeah, they kind of do that, and then they kind of tack onto it at the end, if I remember.
Yeah, it's all kind of old school stuff. It's I mean, I'm not into the, I wouldn't buy Metal Hammer these days. It's all the modern metal scene, but it's not the modern traditional metal scene. It's all the I can't remember the names of the bands. I don't really know that well at all. But it's kind of, it's I like the new bands playing traditional metal, but not the new bands playing modern these days. Yeah.
Yeah. Same here.
I just got this right now in the mail. The new Fangoria.
Oh, right on.
Yeah, I guess I still have a subscription, but I haven't subscribed.
Are you subscribed to Planet Rock?
No.
Okay.
No, but this Fangoria, I subscribed before they went under a few years back, and then I had a year left on my I had like 2 issues left on my subscription to that, and another company took it over.
So they picked you back up?
Yeah, and this is their 7th issue, so I haven't paid for subscription to that in like 4 years now. But it only comes out every 4 months now, so
it's like Scary Monsters.
You can't find it in stores though.
Well, I think the last question we got for you is what's like the highest thing on your want list right now? What are you looking for?
I don't really have a want list. I browse and then I kind of find stuff. I still do a lot of impulse buys. I mean, I love sites like Discogs, but I love going to stores as well, and flicking through and just picking stuff up. I mean, if I dug through or I thought about that one and prepped for that one, I probably could give you a better answer. But I want to fill some gaps in my collection. There's a few more Music for Nations. First Exciter album, quite like that on Music for Nations.
That's cool. That's my answer too, dude. I've never been one to have like here's the 10 albums I need. I've always just been like, let's go see what I can find. You know what I mean? It's like fill holes and keep moving.
Yeah, there's stuff that would be great to have, but as I say, I'm not necessarily in a hurry to get it, and I'll pick things up on CD that are hard to find, and say I won't get the reissue. I'll get it on CD, so I'll have the album to play. I play a lot of stuff on the move. I every CD I get, I'll rip, and I've got a little Theo black, so I do everything as lossless. and listen to that. You know, I only work 20 minutes from my house, so I walk there and back, and then I listen to music that way. And then vinyl when I get home.
Right on.
Yeah, I'm still a CD guy all the time. Too.
I still have a shit ton of them too. It's like I don't pick too many up anymore, but yeah, I did just pick up a couple Keel reissues. I didn't have on CD. Had them on vinyl, but I just kind of wanted to have them to finish out the CD collections. And actually, the dude I ordered them from, he's like, "Dude, did you make a mistake? These are CDs." I'm like, "No." He's like, "What the fuck? You never buy CDs from me."
I still love CDs, man.
There's a few bands I only pick stuff. I don't even look for stuff on vinyl because I know it's particularly hard to get, and I want them all in the same format. I mean, this came today. This is the if you know Iron Savior. Yeah, that's completed my discography for them, and I've got them all on CD. And I'm not fussed about getting it because the vinyl for these releases was just, they were expensive. But if I had the latest one on vinyl, the last 2 or 3 on vinyl, but then the other 7 or 8 on CD, it just wouldn't sit right. I like them to all be in the same box. I've got a few things. I mean, it's not a hard and fast rule. I've got some other releases where I've got some things on CD, some things on vinyl, but you know, I'd probably end up picking them up on CD as well if I had them on vinyl.
I try and get everything I can on vinyl, but you know, I'm good with, especially some of the more, I'd say modern, but the stuff after 2000 or whatever. I'm good with having that on CD, you know. But
I always liked it, you know, like the New Testament, and the other one, the Metal Church. If I like them enough, then I'll pick the vinyl up. You know what I mean? But other than that, I just bought. I mean, anything for me right now, it's just about the music. You know what I mean? I don't care what format I get it on, but I prefer vinyl. But you know what I mean? It's just plus it all depends how much cash I have in my wallet too.
Right.
So
I buy very little stuff on pre-order for vinyl. I tend to I'll wait, and I'll wait till it comes right down.
Right.
I get it. So
I always pre-order stuff that's like a pledge or something like that. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, I do buy quite a lot of stuff off Bandcamp, and a lot of because the UK metal thing I think is pretty good at the moment. And a lot of those I know the vinyl will be very limited run.
Right.
So I'll do pre-orders on things like Bandcamp and to get those. And Anthrax has always been a big band for me, so I've pre-ordered their releases in the past just to make sure I've got them nice and early.
We were at speaking of Anthrax, the Stomp 442 record. I was there a lot of the days while they were recording that right down the street here.
Really? That's cool.
Yeah. I have pictures. We went to the listening party for, I guess they were fan club members or some shit back then. Because I worked right down the street, and it was right in Conshohocken, so I knew the studio guy, Phil Nicolo. I think they were called the Butcher Brothers at one point or something like that, the two brother producers. But he was producing the Anthrax record here. And, we had known him through, you know, Charlie pretty well. So Charlie invited us down to hang out with him and listen to mixes and go to the pub next door with him. So
that's cool. Oh yeah. Hey, you're speaking of Metal Church, man. I was just spinning this earlier today.
Is that live with?
Yeah, this is the old one. I think it was only on CD for a while. But
who's the singer on that?
David Wayne.
Oh, it is David Wayne. Okay.
Yeah. Dude, do you have this on CD?
Yeah.
This is awesome, man.
Yeah. They did one with David Wayne, and then they did one like called Classic Live or some shit with Michael Howe on it.
Oh, really? Is that newer?
No, it's probably the same. That's it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is strange one. It's got studio tracks on it.
I don't have that one.
It's one of these strange ones. It's 3 sides live, and then they didn't know what to do with the 4th side.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I'm not familiar with that. I know of it. I don't have it, but
it's like Kiss Alive too.
Yeah, the new thing is like 5 brand newly recorded tracks, and then like 2 or 3 tracks from the last sessions, and then some cover tunes. They do like Black Betty and
wow.
So the only reason I ordered it was I want to hear their cover of Black Betty because that Mike Howe, he could still, sing, man, he's a great singer.
Hey, I have a question for you. Are you a Kiss fan? Is there an old 70s band?
Nope. I have God, what do I have? I'm show you my whole Kiss collection. I've got I don't think they were that big a thing in the UK. I never remember. I don't remember them being really thrown about in the press. And I don't think I've seen a single VC intro video from someone in the US in the metal community that didn't start off with Kiss.
That's it.
I've got the Alive 1 and 2 just because I saw them in a record shop and thought I've got to give them a go and listen to them. And I've got The Elder as well because everyone had been telling me it was a terrible album that was Kiss fans. I thought, well, if I'm not really that into Kiss, maybe I'll like something that they don't. I don't mind it. It's all right.
I don't mind it either.
I like it now. I hated it as a kid when
There's something about the first 3 Kiss records that are just untouchable.
Yeah, I mean, pretty much anything in the 70s to me. And I know the late 70s were getting...
Yeah, but I mean, like, as far as the way they wrote compared to the later 3 records after Alive, compared to the first 3 records, it was like night and day, I thought. Like, the first 3 records were real riff heavy, heavier. And when they got a little bit of popularity, then they started writing a little more the bubblegummy kind of.
Right.
I mean, they knew what they were doing, obviously, because they were huge then. But
actually, I've got the 12-inch picture disc single of Crazy Nights. I think that probably put me off digging into Kiss.
Now, were they very successful there in the 80s with their non-makeup stuff?
Not really.
No.
I mean, it never really crossed my path at all. I mean, I know they play. They when they tour and they come here, they play the big arenas. They're always sold out. So there must be a lot of people that were into them. But it just never floated my boat at all.
That's weird. It's funny though. I knew Kiss was never that big in the UK until I think like Donington. Didn't they play Donington when I say a couple years ago, it was probably 1996 when they came back.
I think they did play in the early 90s, yeah.
But I think that's when they were probably the most popular in the UK was the reunion tour.
They were special guests one year. I can't remember which. I don't think they headlined. I think they
was that the Rolling Stones show?
No, I remember about the Monsters of Rock.
Oh, okay.
When they played, I think they were second on the bill one year, but I only went to one.
I didn't know they weren't as big there.
Yeah, UK. I remember like reading all the biographies and stuff, and like Ace's, and I think it was Paul's. And they said they just couldn't. They couldn't hit that, the right market, I guess, in the UK. It was different because I think the UK at the time was getting, maybe not, but I guess a little later was getting into the punk scene.
Yeah, we had that. The people running around in. I mean, after the glam, glam rock scene in the UK, then punk came along. It's just people didn't walk around with that kind of. If you did that when I grew up in Cardiff, you'd just had your head kicked in. It was denim and leather, and that was that was it if you're a metalhead.
So you couldn't listen to Slade then and listen to metal at the same time.
but I mean, Slade was when I was getting into music, Slade were kind of they weren't as. I didn't realize how big they were in the 70s because I was kind of introduced to them when they were doing songs like "Run, Run Away."
Yeah, me too. Yeah.
And same with bands like Status Quo. I think the first time I really kind of heard them do a new release is when they did Margarita Time on, and I've got that Run Away and that Margarita Time on 7-inch single from back in the time. And I remember thinking like, these aren't rock and metal bands. These are just, but it's just where they were, and listening to some of the really early Slade stuff is, it's just worlds apart, and you can see why they'd kind of captured the imagination back then.
Now, are you a Status Quo fan?
Nope.
Me neither. Something doesn't click with me with that band. I just don't get it.
I don't dislike them.
Yeah,
I'm just completely ambivalent when it comes to them, really.
Yeah, I just don't. It's just one of those bands that I see a lot of people really, really love, and it doesn't click with me for some reason.
How about bands like Nashville Pussy and the Super Suckers? Do they come up your way there? They're always on the road. Seems like. I just figured that they would be huge. I mean, they're bigger in Europe than here, I think. Wouldn't you think, Reno?
I'm not really sure, to tell you the truth. I know Super Suckers they do tour Europe a lot. So
yeah. Same with Nashville. Nashville Pussy seems like they're always over there.
Yeah.
And look at Wasp. Wasp doesn't even tour America anymore.
Yeah.
They
still tour there, I guess.
All the time.
Yeah, I've got, they're playing Glasgow in October. So I've got, hopefully my tickets will still be valid then. I think they're playing exclusively the first couple of albums. So that'll be quite. I mean, I like the first sort of 3 or 4 Wasp albums, and I liked all that, just all the over the top stuff.
Can't do it, man. I've tried.
Green
Have you seen the Status Quo movie? Hold on, have it somewhere. Yeah, this thing is so bad. It's good. You come across it.
Let me
Bula Quo.
Nah.
They play themselves, and they try to do a comeback tour, and they get caught up in this drug deal that goes wrong, and they're on the run. And it is honestly, it's so bad. It's
an actual movie. It's not like a documentary.
It's a movie.
Wow.
I might need to see that.
Yeah, I have to check that out.
They survived the 70s, rocked Live Aid, but can they escape death in Fiji?
Holy shit. That sounds awesome.
So it's worth it just for comedy value, because it's terrible, but they play themselves, so they're not trying to be anything else.
What we were just talking about, it's interesting how some bands just don't transfer from one country to another. One I think of all the time is Queen. Like, they were big here, but nothing like they are over there. I take it. It seems like they're like royalty over there. Am I correct in saying that they're a huge band?
Yeah. I mean, they were massive. I mean, for me, when it comes to them, I've got Queen's greatest hits, and that's all I need. And I love that album. I'll stick that on, and that'll give me my Queen fix. But I've never felt. I've kind of felt I should invest in a few more of their albums. I've got some on CD. One day I may. I mean, I like them. They're just not a band I gravitate towards particularly. Or if I do, I'll stick the greatest hits on, and that'll be me.
I mean, I remember, they were definitely big here in the U.S., but they were never massive. You know what I mean? Other than Another One Bites the Dust, that what you couldn't get away from for a long time. And they definitely have big hits here, but not like, there.
Until Wayne's World happened, and then Bohemian Rhapsody was everywhere again. Like the movie. When the movie happened a couple years back, it was everywhere again. We still, to this day, can't keep Queen in stock.
Really?
On vinyl. Can't keep it. I can get every Queen record. As long as my distributor has it, I can get it in. And by the end of the week, they're gone.
That movie, man, it was like, I don't know. Get me started.
I've still not seen it. I need it to.
I understand what they were going for, but yeah.
Well, see, we're rock guys, man, so we know kind of the history of these bands. Yeah. I think that's what it is. And when they add the Hollywood touch to everything, it ruins it for guys like that know the actual history of these bands, you know?
Yeah, and I mean, they really fucked with their history to make that movie.
The timeline was way off. Yeah.
Right.
Did you think the same about the? I know the Motley Crue movie was a bit more of a tongue-in-cheek.
I actually like that better than the Queen movie.
I'm about the same with it. It was
just because it was so goofy, and I think it didn't take itself too seriously, and I think that's what I liked about it. Because it could have tried to take itself real serious. Like, I don't know if you guys remember that Def Leppard VH1 made for TV movie about 20 years ago, how terrible that was.
Don't start me on Def Leppard.
That could have been easily what this movie could have been, and it wasn't. You know, I thought it was good. So you're not a Leopard fan?
Oh, Joe, it's Joe Elliott's vocals. They're like running nails down a chalkboard for me. Never ever. Yeah. I don't know any Def Leppard at all, unless they're on a compilation.
Yeah.
Really? Yeah. Not at this house.
Wow, that's pretty interesting. Sorry, got a text. But yeah, I'm not a big fan of any of those movies. Like, I never watched the Elton John one, and I haven't
seen that one yet.
I would rather.
You need to see the Status Quo one though. That's you like that one.
That one sounds interesting. The one you just showed. I would rather.
Yeah, that one.
But I would rather see a good, well-made documentary than.
Oh, dude, don't get me started on documentaries.
Really?
Tiger King. Am I right?
I haven't seen it,
dude.
We're staying away from it.
Don't stay away from it. Do not stay away from it.
Really?
We have to talk about
it. I've not seen. I'm probably going to have to.
Look, I'll put it this way. I'm warning you guys now. The first episode is one of the episodes. Is the episode that introduces you to everybody. So It's kind of slow moving, and at the end of it, you go, "Why is everybody talking about this?" The beginning of the second episode, you're going to be like, I am watching every fucking episode. I'm not going to bed until I watch every episode. There's only seven episodes, but dude, it's the most bizarre documentary and story. You're just like, what the hell? Are these people real? It's so bizarre, dude.
So many people were talking about it. Usually I kind of stay away from that stuff. Nah,
man, I'm telling you, I wouldn't steer you wrong. If you make it through that first episode, because even my wife was like, she watched it after I did. And I think at the end of the first episode, she was like, what are you talking about? This, it's okay, but it's nothing great. I'm like, just stick with it, please. Because as soon as you get into that second episode, you'll be like, all right, I'm hooked. It's crazy, man, but it's...
Well, I've actually talked to the wife about it too, and she's like, I don't know. Everybody keeps talking about it. I don't know if
dude, you have to. And it's oh my God. It's so, it doesn't put I don't know. It's just, that's why I posted on Facebook. Like, if the South does rise again, I'm out of here.
I don't know. I've never seen Forrest Gump.
I love that movie.
Never seen that.
Except for his bitch ass girlfriend. Don't even get me started on her.
Dude, I just saw
he took advantage of that son of a bitch because he wasn't right in the head. What was her name? Jenny? I would punch her in the mouth. She took advantage of his ass.
I just saw E.T. for the first time about 3 months ago.
Oh my God, I love that movie. What'd you think of E.T.?
Not too much.
Really?
I think because, and my wife loves it, and she finally got me to watch it. And I think it's because I wasn't a kid watching it.
Yeah, that's true. You're right.
That's okay. She's like, what? It's the greatest movie of all. You know, she's
I wouldn't go that far.
She loves it.
It's no 16 Candles.
Oh, shit. All right, I guess we better wrap it up here. We're like an hour and 30.
Yeah, that's cool.
So, thanks for joining us, man.
It's been fun. Really enjoyed it.
I definitely want to have you back on.
Yeah, man. We're saw E.T. in the theater. That's cool. We got a lot of people in here tonight. It's hard to keep up with the chat.
Yeah, I'm trying as best I can to keep an eye on it.
They can just
here, look. I'm here. Episode 3. I'm telling you, man. All I can tell you, he'll know what I'm talking about when I say Carol fucking Baskin. They'll know what I'm talking about. Say Tiger King is nuts. Dude, it's fuck. I wouldn't steer you wrong, brother.
We'll probably end up checking it out here at some point.
Dude, you're gonna be locked in your house for the next month. You're gonna be you'll watch it twice.
You know what we did watch last night?
What's that?
Rise of Skywalker.
And
we saw it in the theater.
Oh yeah, we talked. Okay, yeah. You liked it, right?
Yeah, I thought it was all right. I didn't have any trouble with it, but we got the Blu-ray last night. Watched it again, but we were both kind of watching and messing around on phones and doing stuff. So I want to sit down and actually watch it. Are you a Star Wars fan, Andy?
Yep. Yeah, I saw the original in I think it was my 6th birthday.
Right on.
But not so. I think the last 3 weren't too bad. Hated 1, 2, and 3. But then I'm not watching it as a. I guess I'm not watching it as a kid.
Right.
And now they're Disney movies.
I thought what was it? What was the one that just episode 7, whatever. Yeah. I thought that was good, but it was definitely a mirror of New Hope. And then The Last Jedi, there was just so much wrong with that film. But the more I watch it, the more I like it. It's weird. And the new movies is kind of the same thing. It's just like, I don't know if I would have gone the same route as they did story wise, but whatever.
I like Rogue One when that came out. I thought that was a good movie.
Yeah, that's fantastic.
That's probably the best one out of the new ones they've done, I think.
I like the Solo one too, but it's hard to take this kid as Han Solo. That's the only problem.
Right.
I've not seen that one. And the thing that really did it for me with the 1, 2, and 3 was when Luke and Leia are born, towards the end of the movie. And then they split the babies up and it becomes the whole other saga, is that they didn't know she was having twins. They've got these sophisticated scanning equipment that can see what ships are in their cargo ships they've got on their hold. Right. They didn't know she was having twins.
Yeah.
Come on.
And they're both Jedi. You'd think they would have figured it out the first time they saw each other.
Some connection there, surely.
There's a lot of plot holes in the Star Wars universe.
That's all good fun now.
Yeah. I've been happy with what Disney's done with them. The Mandalorian I thought was really good. Have you seen that?
I think it's great. Yeah. It's like a Western. It really is like a Western, don't you think?
Yeah. I mean, it's like a Star Wars Western.
Yeah.
Can't wait.
Everybody made a big deal of the Baby Yoda, but I was like, come on. And then the first time I saw him, I was like, okay, I'm on board. I want one.
Yeah.
All this is Gizmo dressed in the, it's a gremlin, basically.
Yeah. All right, guys, let's wrap it up.
Cool.
Definitely had fun, man. Yeah, definitely have you back on and getting to the point. We might try and have like a couple people at a time here pretty soon and let the shit fly.
So good format. I enjoyed it. Yeah. It's been
right on.
I definitely want to get you back on, pick your brain more.
Sounds good. All right. Well, thanks everybody for watching. Hey, John, if you're BitBot Boom, if you're still in here, we'd like to have you on. So I got to see if I even have your email, how to contact you. So that could be pretty interesting. John's an interesting dude, man.
I'd watch that one.
Yep.
So right on.
Okay.
All right, cool. We'll see y'all real soon. Thanks for watching.
Thanks, fellas. Thanks for watching all.